favorite month would be April, no? The month, my birthday month is my favorite month.
अच्छा वैसे ओके ऐसा नहीं कि 28 दिन काम करके 31 दिन की सैलरी मिल रही है वो फेवरेट नहीं है
नहीं, वो फेवरेट बिल्कुल नहीं है. The month that I get most gifts is my favorite month.
Ah, interesting. Acha, now, we were telling you about a very interesting concept which I also experienced kal. And we're talking about Anita. Now, Proventus से है Anita and Proventus in Latin means success.
Oh, nice.
So, आप कौन सा सक्सेस लैडर कौन सा पाथ आप लेना चाहते हो देयर इज अ प्रॉपर रिपोर्ट जैसे साइकोमेट्रिक टेस्ट होते हैं जैसे DMIT रिपोर्ट होते हैं यस म्यूरियल
Right, I know this is interesting because Vivek was giving me a download, Anita, about all of this, and I was just wowed, and apparently I was just floored by everything he said, and I couldn't believe that with biometrics you can just get so much out of it.
Absolutely, you can. I mean, a lot of people are, shocked like you are when we say, biometrics is going to tell you who you are. They are so skeptical about it.
Right.
But when they actually experience it, they are
Blown.
wowed. Yeah, they're wowed by it.
So Anita is a career coach, she's also a mentor as well और काफी बच्चों को वो गाइड भी करती है कि कौन सा करियर पाथ आप ले सकते हो so it's a pleasure and welcome to Talk 100.3.
Thank you very much for having me here.
You're more than welcome, and we really want to know everything about, everything that Vivek has been talking to me. In fact, if you can just open it up and start talking more.
इतना कुछ हो रहा है कि it's like where do we get started? So what I understand is आपके बायोमेट्रिक से फिंगरप्रिंट से पता चलते हैं कि आपके ब्रेन के लोब्स और आप नेचुरल एबिलिटी आपकी क्या है और कौन सी चीज में आप नेचुरली ईज के साथ कर सकते हो.
Correct.
Right. So if you could explain that a little bit more.
Sure, absolutely. So let's take a step back to kind of really explain what this is. So basically, the science is called dermatoglyphics. It's a proven science. Okay. And I like to believe that this is a very, very old science that comes out of India.
अच्छा.
तो पुराने ज़माने में जब हम जाते थे, we used to go and we used to show our hands to the babas, right?
Right.
So बाबा क्या करते थे? They would
लकीर देखते थे आपके हाँ.
लकीर नहीं देख रहे थे. So, when they got older, when magnifying glass came into being, you would actually have them using a magnifying glass, correct?
Correct.
Right.
Now, magnifying glass, हाथ की लकीरें देखने के लिए तो magnifying glass की ज़रूरत नहीं होती है.
Okay.
Right? So, what they were doing is, they were using the magnifying glass to read your fingerprints.
Wow.
The ridges and the patterns of your prints.
Look at me.
हमारे साथ धोखा हुआ है.
And I thought all this while they were trying to read, they're trying to read the palm.
No. So yes, palmistry is also one thing. That's a different science, obviously.
लेकिन मैग्नीफाइंग ग्लास के साथ
Magnifying glass के साथ अब क्या
तो
पढ़ते हैं?
वो the lines के लिए magnifying glass की ज़रूरत ही नहीं है. It's basically your ridges that they are looking at, right? So that's what I like to believe. It's a very, very old science which now has been taken and put into an algorithm. So we take the prints and we kind of run a report. So the science, like I was saying, dermatoglyphics. Basically, what the science says is that when the baby is conceived, okay, and the brain is being formed between the 13th and the 21st week, that's when your fingerprint patterns are being formed.
Okay.
Right.
And hence the connection of your fingerprints to your brain. And so basically we've got 5 lobes of the brain. Okay, the prefrontal, frontal, parietal, temporal, occipital. And then you've got the right hemisphere and the left hemisphere.
Right.
So every finger of yours actually corresponds to one of the lobes.
I was trying to see.
मेरे तो 10 है ऋतिक के 11 है ऋतिक के 11 में वो एक एक्स्ट्रा
वो मुझे पता नहीं वो मुझे हमें फिगर आउट करना पड़ेगा कि उसका क्या करे but that's what it is. It is a beautiful science.
For me it's science. For me it's magic beyond understanding. Not even science.
So ये जो lobes हम बोल रहे हैं तो
जी.
what are the each lobes refer to? आपका right brain हो गया left brain हो गया and what
जी.
are those each lobes?
Okay, so the prefrontal lobe, this is the lobe which is responsible for your emotional quotient. So like we say EQ. और अभी फिलहाल in the past 2 years COVID के time में a lot of people have started saying EQ. So what is that? It's basically your ability to handle yourself and handle people. And we sociologists, psychologists like to believe that EQ is the most important factor when it comes to success.
Okay.
IQ तो है ही मगर अगर EQ आपका होता है, if you know how to handle yourself, if you know how to handle people, then your chances of success absolutely go through the roof.
Even though my IQ is average or below average, मेरा EQ is top, I can still succeed.
You can still, because you know how to handle yourself, right? You know.
Right.
So when you say handling yourself, it's basically analyzing your behavior, understanding your emotions, right? And the other part of the prefrontal, which I'm talking about, the leadership. What's leadership? It's basically how you handle people. So like they say, पानी पीने के लिए आपको कुआं कूदने की, to dig a well, you really don't need
You
to do
don't
it. You can
need-
hire people to do
dig
it
the
for you.
well, right.
And like
And it's
Elon Musk says,
Ah.
right? I'm not from Harvard, but I hire people who are from Harvard.
Right.
That's EQ.
Right. Another thing is कि ये जो report है, for example, DMIT report हो गया और the psychometric test, कौन से age से शुरू करना better होगा और
So basically biometric, okay? So different names, okay? So let's not get confused. So dermatoglyphics ho gaya, DMIT ho gaya, finger mapping ho gaya, brain mapping ho gaya. That's all basically the same thing. So different
Right.
nomenclatures. Biometrically, there is no age per se, right? Because एक बार आपके fingerprints are formed, they don't ever change,
They
right?
don't change, unless and until you're having a
Unless
plastic
you've had an
surgery.
accident or something, something of that kind, right? Only
Okay.
then. So, for example, I had a student who was into forensic sciences, and when she came into me, she had actually burnt her fingers because of some chemical that had fallen on it.
Okay.
So I asked her to come back to me after a couple of weeks, and when she did, I had her prints again.
Okay.
Okay, so going back to your question, Vivek, biometrics, the earliest that we have done for any student is a 4-year-old kid.
Oh.
Okay, that's how early we started it.
right. और एक बार वो report आ गया.
Does it
that-
change with time?
No.
No,
no,
the-
it
see,
doesn't.
what happens is the
Yeah.
report won't change. Okay,
Right.
so when you give your fingerprints again, let's say a couple of years later, the report's going to be the same.
Okay.
Because that's your innate, what we are tapping into. What are your changes? That is going to be looked at via the psychometric. The psychometric tells you what your current abilities are.
Right.
Okay.
And the oldest that I've done the biometric for is like a 65-year-old person.
Wow. And that's obviously telling him or her, what
Just
were
kind
her-
of, it's,
Yeah.
it's a self-awareness.
Right.
Okay, even at that age, this was the principal for school that we did it for. So it was just, absolutely blown away. The psychometric, the earliest you can do it is at the age of 14.
Okay.
So typically when you finish grade 8, you get into grade 9. That's a good time to do it. So when you've got both the reports, the psychometric and the biometric, it helps, in terms of the whole career decision taking. What subject should I take? What subject should I drop? Should I take up sciences, commerce? It really helps in that.
Right. तो ये decision लेने में काफी फायदा होता है, and which areas you're naturally good at, and if you pursue that, you will achieve the optimum results, is what the idea is.
So so the idea is, so two things over here. One is what you said, that if you understand what your strengths are, you get optimum success, absolutely. But like I said, it's all about self-awareness.
Right.
So even if I know that there are certain areas, and we all have it, we all have areas that we're not very good at.
Correct.
Okay, we all can't be fantastic at everything.
Yeah.
So just knowing that, hey, this is an area that I'm not very good at, that self-awareness is a fantastic thing.
Okay.
Right.
Right? For children, if you're at a younger age, because, the brain is plastic, you can keep rewiring till the age of 23.
Oh.
So
wow.
if you do it when you're very young,
Right.
and, we give remedial actions on how to change, to rewire your brain, if you do that, तो आप, by the time you get into the workforce, आप अपने आप को actually rewire कर सकते हो.
अच्छा.
जो आपके weak areas है, or I like to call them areas of improvement,
Right.
उनको आप strong कर सकते हैं. और जो आपके strengths है, now if you're good at something and you do that activity, it makes you happy.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
So if I know that, what, for me, listening to music is my strength. Whenever I'm stressed or demotivated,
Right.
just sitting down and listening to music
Right. It helps.
makes me happy.
Right.
Very interesting. One of the lobes जो है ना is also talks about your facial expression.
Oh,
And very interesting example Anita has about one of the celebrities, right? If you could share that, yeah.
I will, but I hope they don't come after me for saying this.
Hey, daddy won't come. Daddy won't come.
Daddy would come. Which celebrity are we talking about?
So I'm talking about Arjun Rampal,
Oh,
one of
okay.
the, the most good-looking celebrities, right?
Right.
So when he came into the cinema, front a couple of years back. I would say at least about 20 years back.
Almost.
Yeah,
Two
I was
decades.
very young. So he was one of the hottest models ever happening.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
That glad
one
rags
Milind
ever
Soman,
produced.
Yeah,
एक
one Milind
Milind Soman
Soman
और
and
एक
एक
Arjun
Arjun
Rampal.
Arjun Rampal. He was, the guy. And, when he came into the movies, he wasn't very expressive, right?
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
A lot of people really, bashed him down saying, block of word and, all kind of things. But if you actually see him now, in fact, he got nominated for a supporting actor, if I'm not mistaken, for Rock On. I may
On.
be wrong, but
Yeah.
I think that's what
He
it
did,
is.
he did, yeah.
He did, right? So that is how he has evolved, right?
Right.
Even at the age of 20, because he started working on that ability, he has evolved and changed it so much that he's now eligible for an award. That's how you can change it. So that's the R3 that we're talking about, your facial expressions.
All right, so I have this question, Anita. Now, with children young as 3, 4, and as parents, you're really worried about the development as well. And most of us do. And if we see that there is a problem, and maybe if we come for a scan or, biometric scan, like you just said, can this help us as parents detect future problems in children? Will it help us, probably alarm us a bit as to if the child is not on par with other kids, the least to say so?
Okay. So the most important thing, Muriel, over here is one, we never ever we never compare our kids to other kids.
Right.
Okay, that's a starting point for any parent. Okay, I mean that's what I tell. So usually when I have this whole counseling session, for me it is more in terms of the parent counseling also as much as for the child.
Right.
Okay, because as a parent you need to be aware that your child has certain abilities and certain abilities are not the strongest.
Right.
Okay. Two is there is never a reason to be alarmed.
Okay.
Okay, because like I said in the beginning, we all have areas that are extremely strong and areas that will, you will be able to improve it.
Right.
Arjun Rampal, right?
No, like I was just having a chat with Vivek in the morning itself, and I was just telling him how bogged down as a mom I am, because my kid is 4 and he doesn't want to hold a pencil because he just doesn't want to hold a pencil to write.
Okay.
He will do everything else but hold a pencil. So now again, the worry in me, the mother in me has different things in my head.
Correct.
So, and when he told me about this, and I was like, wow, can this actually be,
Absolutely. It could be because, the whole thing about the holding the pencil is again your fine motors. And your
Right.
fine motors is your R3 again.
Right.
So maybe his R3 is not the strongest. So now
Right.
that, if you do the testing and you find out, hey, R3 is not the strongest, it becomes easier for you as a parent to accept that, saying, you know what, hey,
Right.
this is a challenge for my child. And I need to be more, more patient,
Right.
okay, about it, because this is something that will take him time.
Right.
If I know he's strong, then I know he's just doing it for the heck of it.
No, he is. Half of the time he's just sleeping because he doesn't want to write. Oh gosh, don't ask.
But if you've got a little one, all I can say is all the best, because
I
each
know, I
generation
know.
gets even more difficult. I'm out of it. My kids are 22 and 18, so I'm out
I can
of
see
it.
the smile on your face already.